On today's show, what the hell is that a trailer for? Tomorrow just died for James Bond fans. And who's the highest paid actor in the world? Is it the Carfax guy? Movie Talk starts right now. Is he at least top 10, you think?
I say no.
Movie.
Understand the reference. No.
I have an issue, and we're going to get to the highest paid actors according to Forbes. I have an issue with how that list was compiled, who was number one, the reasons for listing them number one. Before we get into all that, that is Mr. Jeff Sneider. That is Mark Yodi Reilly. I'm just Mark Ellis. I'm the guy that hosts this show. Very excited to be here today on our last show of the week. Whole lot of news to get to. Jeff Sneider and Mark Reilly in Perky Nudes. Perky Nudes?
Perky Nudes.
Hey, you know what?
Did
this is what happens when you do the show in the afternoon.
Somebody get the access to my old MySpace page? Wow.
Do you remember anybody in your top 8 friends? Did we know each other at the time of the top 8 phenomenon? And were we ever I don't think I ever put you in my top 8, I'll be honest.
No, you weren't. I wish you would have been. But I believe... I can't talk about my top 5 at least on that MySpace page. I don't know them anymore.
Jeff Sneider, got any top 8s?
My big thing was the speed dial on my landline phone as a teenager in the house. Like, who made that speed dial? That was big.
That was big. It was also the plot of a very funny episode of Seinfeld. Was it Jerry or was it her mom who was going to be number one? Well, in more modern day speak, James Bond. Well, he's been a spy forever, but in James Bond 25, we're going to see Daniel Craig, possibly his last time as James Bond. Unfortunately, as Newsweek first reported yesterday, we don't have a director for the movie anymore since Danny Boyle is no longer attached to the project. The question we have today is who the hell is not going to direct the thing? Who's going to write the damn movie? We don't have a title. We don't have a production schedule. And now it appears we don't even have a script. I don't see any way this movie is hitting its targeted release date of November 2019. That is some quick math here. 15, 16 months away. It's not going to happen, kids. Bond is going to get delayed. And the question I have is, A, whether Daniel Craig is actually a producer on this movie, and B, whether he will be returning as James Bond or this latest shift is going to see them scrap the whole project altogether and cast a new James Bond. The issue against that, Jeff Sneider, would be that it appears that Daniel Craig did have a hand in saying, I don't like the way Danny Boyle is going about not just the script, which is what we thought it was yesterday, that Danny Boyle had an issue with the script that Broccoli and Daniel Craig, amongst other producers, didn't agree with. It's that Danny Boyle had a certain casting in mind that Daniel Craig said, I don't think this is the right fit, and maybe that caused the riff, and that leaves us in the hole we're in now. No director, no script, no release date. What the hell is going on?
So this is what I'll say. You can't trust the British tabloids at all about any movie except for the James Bond franchise.
Makes sense.
They are very plugged in to the James Bond franchise.
I would trust them with Johnny English news as well.
Okay. Well... So there was this report, I think it was in the Telegraph. They said that they wanted first of all, the storyline was going to involve like a modern day Cold War type of thing, and we sort of talked about that the other day because I'd said that I'd heard that they were looking for a Russian villain and Russian Bond girls. The Daily Telegraph, I think, said that it was Tomasz Kot, who is the star. I'm surely butchering that pronunciation, by the way. The star of this upcoming awards season movie Cold War, who they wanted to play the villain. So I guess Boyle was pushing for him. He's obviously not a big name, not like Javier Bardem or some of the villains that we've seen. Christoph Waltz. So exactly. So I think Daniel Craig had an issue with that. And if Danny Boyle's like, if I don't get to cast the guy who I see in this part, I got to walk.
And Danny Boyle's a director that rightfully so has the clout and has the power to wield that. And if they don't see eye to eye, he's not going to make the movie. And this is one of the conversations that you, me, and Roka got into yesterday, where it's like, okay, well, who should the director be? And do you want a director that's going to come in and helm a franchise that's able to play ball with what the producers want? Or do you want to bring in Mark Reilly, a director that is a name, but is going to bring their way of doing things, and the project's going to have to adapt to their wishes?
Yeah, that's what it seems like right now, and it makes sense that they're starting from scratch because from all the reports that Boyle had this idea when he did that opening ceremonies thing with Daniel Craig, and that was one of the ideas. And he gets his Trainspotting screenwriter John Hodge, right, to write this script. So if he's out, they're going to start from scratch, and that's what I was kind of talking about off air. I'm like, this thing might not hit when the news broke. I'm like, those guys leaving, that means that they're going to take the script with them, maybe. So Who's the director that's going to come in? Do they start with the writer first? I don't know. This seems like there's a lot of trouble behind the scenes now.
According to Variety's report, it looks like they are really focused on either finding a writer or a writer-director. So they want to get rid of the Hodge-Boyle thing. They want to get rid of the Purvis and Wade draft that they had ditched already
a while ago,
in favor of the Boyle-Hodge draft. So it sounds like they're going to start from scratch, which means it would be very difficult for this movie to hit its current release date. It has not officially moved, despite reports. But if you do the math on these kinds of movies and what it would need in terms of marketing publicity, it would be very difficult for them to have a movie up by next November if they're going to rewrite the script.
And they should move it too. If they are starting from scratch with a script and try to hit that release date, that script is going to be terrible.
Right, exactly. Then you're rushing to hit a date.
Yeah, then you're rushing to hit a date, and it's a big Bond movie. You need the intrigue, you need the spies, you need all the gadgets, you need everything you need for a James Bond movie. You can't just write it over the weekend.
It's Craig's last movie, so you got to send him out with a bang. Send him out on a high note. So the reports today have gone back to that initial director's shortlist that we heard. Not Denis Villeneuve because he's busy with Dune,
right?
But David Mackenzie is still on that list. Today,
Yann
Demange, who has White Boy Rick, and then they added Jean-Marc Vallée today. He was a name that we haven't really heard floated around, who did Dallas Buyers Club and Big Little Lies. Fleming over at Deadline said that he may have a scheduling issue, although looking at his schedule, I can't see what that would be. I've heard that he's been circling a Yoko Ono, John Lennon movie that Mike DeLuca is producing, but I don't have any confirmation on that. So I don't know what the scheduling issue could be.
You really gave a long pause there between Yoko Ono and John Lennon.
Yes.
You said Yoko Ono. Was like, wait, where's the punch? Don't bury the headline there. If you're doing a John and Yoko
Lennon
movie,
and
that's
Yoko
one
Ono.
thing. Yeah. Now, look, and I respect Yoko. She didn't break up the Beatles. The Beatles broke themselves up. If you are MGM and Eon and you're the producers of this movie, are you looking for the best writer/director to jive with what Daniel Craig's vision is? Or should you be looking for a great script? And what if that script says, hey, I think it's time to reinvent the wheel with the new James Bond?
Oh boy. I mean, I would vote for a writer-director purely for the access to having the writer on the set. It's the director. They can maybe get something out there a little bit faster, I would say, or maybe that needed a little bit of work, but they can workshop it on the set while they're directing. I wouldn't give it all to Daniel Craig. I would if they want to hit the release date, but at the same point, to your point, Jeff, like this is his last movie. This is going to send him out with a great movie. You want to please him.
Has he earned that right? I guess is my question. As a James Bond, I think he's a great James Bond when he is in great James Bond movies, and I think that he's a ghost, a shell of himself when he's in Quantum of Solace or when he's in Spectre. So the question is, not only does he have to agree with the script, and I obviously look, if he's James Bond, he's a great James Bond. I want him as the star of the movie to feel comfortable with the dialogue and all that stuff and where the storyline's going. But if he's making casting calls too, and he's butting heads with a director producer, at some point, don't you have to say, whose movie is this? If it's Daniel Craig's movie, then you just have to hire a director that's going to care about Craig's vision before your own.
I don't know what the actual problem was between Boyle and Craig. If I had to guess, it's just that I bet Boyle's script probably just didn't feel of a piece with the James Bond that Daniel Craig has been playing for the last decade. He probably that's what I imagined that it was. Don't you think?
I think so too, because these James Bond movies are the first time that 4 movies have been so connected in a James Bond way. Because every James Bond movie is a separate adventure. This is somewhat a quadrilogy. Sure.
It's gonna be
and it sounds
Quinn.
It sounds like Boyle wanted his movie to sort of stand alone and not be too indebted or connected to the past movies that Mendes has made and whatnot.
But I would have liked that too, because Spectre felt like the end of that arc.
Right.
And so you could have picked up, and I don't know what the idea was, but you could have picked up. I mean, he throws his gun away at the end. So why not pick up with, we need you back, James
Maybe
Bond.
it was too cerebral or intellectual. I mean, Danny Boyle is that kind of a filmmaker. He's not known for these big action set pieces. Maybe Daniel Craig was just like, we need a little bit more harumph here.
Yeah, I want the train spotting of James Bond movies.
Okay, but
that's what I would love.
Going forward, regardless of what happens with Bond 25, because we're in a cinematic universe inundated world now where we have interconnectivity and we're wondering how all these movies in the world of comic books or Star Wars are all going to tie together. together. Isn't there some sort of romanticism about the James Bond classic movies where they didn't care about each other? They didn't care about what happened, who died, who we made love to in the last movie. This is a new day and it's a new adventure. Should we go back to the era where they're very episodic and not reliant on each other to continue the previous movie's story?
I mean, you could look at, the most successful version of this, in my opinion, is the Mission Impossible franchise. But what Rogue Nation did connect to Fallout, so already we're right there.
They kind of reset it every time with Mission Impossible now, where it's like, I'll be damned if nobody trusts Ethan Hunt once again.
I know.
Isn't it shocking that we find ourselves in a position where we got to run away from everybody? Man, does this make good cinema? And we just keep buying it, so they keep making it.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the more we talk about it, and like depending on who it is that's going to write this script and the time it takes, they were shooting for November of this year to release the following November. What if Craig is out? What if he can't do it anymore because of scheduling? What if he just doesn't want to deal with this anymore? That's some of the things I'm starting to think about. And then going to your point, maybe they should just and get a standalone Bond movie, the best they can make. And if Craig wants to do it, great. If not, you recast.
That would be so cold. I mean, I agree with you. I think that's if I was running that franchise, that's what I would do is just start fresh. But his deal may be done. Like they may have already agreed to pay him $25 million.
There's probably ink on paper, regardless of what you are in Bond 25. And I think he's going to make himself available for whatever, especially if he does have some sort of production stake in the movie, or if he's able to have this kind of say. So he's going to make himself available if he can.
He was a co-producer on the last one, so I imagine he'll get a co-producer credit on this one. Again, that's different than a full producer credit, but that is maybe why you saw that the news about Boyle leaving was attributed not just to MGM and Eon, but also Daniel Craig, which did strike people as unusual.
All right. Well, any writers out there, maybe you could be writing Bond 25.
The other thing, though, is about the release date. Like, do you want this moved a year, Ellis, to November 2020, or could they put it in next summer?
I do not open a Bond movie in the summer.
Not next summer, but
I don't open a Bond movie in the summer. Okay. I think there's too much competition, and I think as big as you could make this movie, with Daniel Craig, it's his last run as Bond, it's 25. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance you can have around that movie. Mm-hmm. Summer has proven there's always another train coming. Star Trek Beyond, really good movie, built-in franchise fan base, did not do well.
So you think it's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous.
I think
to
it would
open
own
a movie
summer,
like that
but
in the summer. I think it's just as bold to do something in November where people are going to have some time off from work / school. I would have a Christmas release date for Bond before I would do a summer movie release date.
I feel like you could put Bond wherever.
I think.
I really do. I think you could put it in February nowadays because these movies are coming out earlier and earlier every year. Black Panther obviously did very well in February. You could put a Bond movie there. I think it'd do fine in summer, but yes, to your point, you don't want to put it on the same weekend. And what if a Marvel movie lands there? Then you're like, or a DC movie or one of those big ones, because that's where I'd worry. But like Mission Impossible Fallout did so well in that July spot, why couldn't we have a Bond movie there?
So you guys both think it would do well any time of the year?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is one of those behemoth franchises where you put it down and then everything else around it has to react and stay out of its way. It's interesting in THR's story, there's one sentence that says even before Danny Boyle departed, there was talk of pushing the movie's release to early 2020. Early 2020 suggests like a January, February, March. That's wild.
Hey, nobody else is opening around that time.
Yeah.
I like that before I like the summer, and I like the month of summer for different reasons. I miss football though, and don't worry, it's about to come back. Anyway, that's a sport I love. Fencing, I could get on board with a fencing movie, and apparently I'm going to have to because there's a new movie about fencing coming out. That's right, and here's the kicker. It's going to be starring and produced by Casey Affleck. This news comes 2 weeks after Casey Affleck had a very apologetic interview about his past behavior with the Associated Press. He is going to produce and co-star in this movie called Fencer, and it comes from up-and-coming writer-director Jasmine McGlade. So it's about a hard-charging female athlete who faces personal demons and childhood rivals as she vies for a top fencing spot. Her coach will be played by Casey Affleck. So, Mark Reilly, my question to you is, the public ready to accept Casey Affleck back in a role like this? Is this the right time for him to come back? How is this all going to work? And then also, you want to see a movie about fencing?
Fencing?
Swordplay.
I mean, I'm all for Olympic movies, kind of biopics about the sport or what have you. So yes, TBD on Casey Affleck, but everything seems to be falling in place for a lot of these movements that called out some men in the industry, like James Franco, who's now getting back in there. And now we have Casey Affleck. After that, I don't know if the public will take him back yet. I know that, like, he stayed out of the Oscars. When he did win that Oscar, we had Brie Larson on the side doing this, you know, that there are going to be people that are not going to accept him back, period. So I don't know if this movie is it's an independent movie at this point right now. So I think that might have it going. At least the budget would be on the lower side. I really don't know with what the temperature is with him. The interview, from at least the little stuff that I saw, didn't land very well because of just, you know, whatever he said. I don't know the specifics, but it's a hard question to answer. If he can do this, who are you going to cast as the lead female? Then I think we can start talking about some how they're going to take it. Like, are we going to get a very strong actor, somebody that is well-liked in the community, that's going to stand up and say, you know what, I'm willing to work with Casey Affleck right now to do this project? That's going to be key, I think.
And Jeff, I think the unfortunate thing in a lot of this is that Riley's right to bring up, does a movie like this, is it going to be able to get funding if it's associated with somebody like Casey Affleck? Is it going to be a small indie movie? Is that what he's going to have as his framework for films going forward? But he brings up a great question. Somebody's going to sign on to play the lead female fencer in this movie, and it's going to feel unfair, but they are going to be asked this question: how do you feel about working with Casey Affleck? And what they say is going to resonate. It's a very tough position for an actress to be put in.
Yeah, I don't want to make light of this. I just have to give props to Riley on that Brie Larson impression. That was very good.
Thank you very much.
Riley has a cold face when he wants to make one. Again,
I think that Casey Affleck's interview with the AP a couple weeks ago was really well received. I thought he gave very thoughtful answers. I mean, go back to the making of I'm Still Here, which is, you know, where those allegations sort of surfaced. I mean, that whole thing was out of control. It was poorly conceived. Him and Joaquin were crazed. Everybody, like, the whole point was to, like, be getting drunk and doing drugs and capturing it all on camera. I can totally see how things spiraled out of control. And I think it's a good thing that as a boss on that film, he took some responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, many years later, but yeah.
Well, sure. But he settled those suits when they were first filed. Because that's how those women wanted it settled, you know. So he just did what they wanted. I think that the industry is open to welcoming Casey back. I mean, he's in the Robert Redford movie, The Old Man and the Gun, which I think looks like a special film.
That's right.
I don't know how much press he'll be doing for that. But I think that by telling a female-driven story, because this isn't, I don't want people to get it the wrong way. It's not a two-hander. It's not about, like, the fencer and her coach. This is a woman's story. He's using his industry clout to tell this female-driven story from a female filmmaker, a writer-director. What else can you really expect the guy to do?
Well, it certainly would be the best PR move if I was coaching Casey Affleck, and I would say something like that. And I think that this is one of those situations where all of these things are case-by-case basis. And it's for the individual who is going to be the audience to judge on that case-by-case basis. Mm-hmm. When I'm watching Batman Begins, I don't fast forward through the Morgan Freeman parts. And everybody is going to have to make those decisions going forward, because we know more and more about people's personal lives, about people's allegations. So if you find Casey Affleck, whether you find him to be apologetic or not, that's on the individual. And so the same way that he or James Franco or anybody else has the right to seek new work, the audiences have the right to reject that.
Of course. And again, he's never been a big box office draw, Casey Affleck, right? No. Hardly. I think, you know, just the fact that the industry gave him that Best Actor Oscar in spite of all that, because all this stuff came up during his campaign.
It did.
He still won. So I think that he has the respect of his peers in the industry. I think that performance is one of the best I've seen in years. I think he totally deserved it. And I'm just, again, I'm big on forgiveness in certain instances. I'm not going to forgive Harvey Weinstein, but my mind can wrap itself around forgiving Casey Affleck, and I look forward to seeing this movie, frankly.
I think if he's... to what you said, I forgot about that this is really a female-driven story, a female writer-director. That's a really big step for him to put that as his next project, his, for lack of a better term, his coming out party for going, hey, I'm back and I'm trying. So here's the movie, and again, goes to my previous point, who is that lead actress? Because I think a lot of people will look to that person as being like, okay, they're okay with this. Maybe we'll be okay.
So I had a name in our story on Collider.com, and I took it out because she's not going to be in the movie. I mean, I'd heard that they were looking at a couple of Terminator actresses, actually, Mackenzie Davis and then Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
I don't think that either one of them are available. Emilia Clarke are obviously busy with the Game of Thrones final season and whatnot.
Sure.
But I put Emilia's name in originally to sort of just illustrate the kind of actors that they are targeting for this. Again, I don't even think it has financing yet, so they do have to worry about getting that funding, but it is going to be a cheap movie, $3 to $5 million, something, to get Casey back out there. And I like the idea of a fencing movie. It's not a sport we see a lot of.
Sure. Yeah. It's up to the viewer. For if you want to forgive and forget, if you want to keep judging, it's totally up to you. And I don't judge people for having their own individual thing. If you never want to forgive Casey Affleck or James Franco or whoever, Asia Argento, whoever you don't want to forgive, that is on you. And it's totally cool because you have a voice. Every time you go to the movie theater, every time you download something, every time you purchase something on demand, that's you using your voice, or you can choose to not use your voice. So it's going to be interesting. This is not the last kind of these conversations we're going to have about an actor who has a spotty track record, who had allegations against them, and is going to be coming back. So it's something that we're going to continue to talk about as is necessary on the show, because the damn show is called Movie Talk. All right, well, I want to remind you guys that this is Movie Talk, and this is on Collider Video. This is not the only channel we have anymore. The Collider family. We also got Collider Sports, Collider Games, Collider Quick, whole slew of stuff. The Wrestling Sheet. You guys can check all that stuff out. The links are in the description of this vid. And if I may remind you guys once more, I'm going to be in Atlanta a week from tomorrow doing stand-up at the Relapse Theater. Special one-show-only performance during Dragon Con. I'm going to be headlining. Me and some special guests are going to pop in there. Some names you may recognize. Use the promo code Schmoes. You can get tickets at markellislive.com. No actual dragons will be in attendance. Sorry if that was false advertising. We go to the next story, and that is our trailer for Suspiria. Well, it's not our trailer, but it's a movie that we're all very excited about. And I was watching this trailer, and I could not help but think about our late fallen friend, John Schnepp, because him and I would talk about this movie when it was first announced and how excited we were for it, how much he cared about the original version that came out back in the 70s. And I think he would have seen this trailer and got appropriately sweaty. And I did the same thing because it's hard when you see a horror movie trailer and you instantly want to compare it to something else you recently saw, but there's some shades of Hereditary going on here, but this looks like it gets even trippier and we get into Black Swan territory. This thing looks like some horrific imagery, some spine-tingling storytelling. Jeff Sneider did this trailer creep you out like it will do many a viewer.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to Suspiria. I like that elevated horror. I love the cast here. I love that Tom York, one of my favorites, is from Radiohead, is doing the score. It's a gorgeous looking movie. I mean, to have Luca Guadagnino, who's an amazing filmmaker, directing a horror movie, it may be a remake of a beloved classic, but I'm looking forward to the new spin that they put on this. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the trailer. You saw the Let's Ebersdorf thing. The old man. He gets his own name credit in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh wait. We had this conversation.
Exactly. There's a big mystery surrounding whether this is an actual actor or maybe a different actor or actress in makeup. So we'll see.
Very, very spooky stuff in this trailer, Riley, and it's got an interesting story it's telling. Then you combine that with all the fascinating visuals that you're seeing, you're going to have some nightmares. Josh McCouga probably should not see this film.
He should not see this film, and I'm glad you brought up Schnepp. It reminds me when we were talking about this on Nightmares, the initial news that they were remaking this, and Schnepp and me were like, what the hell, But then you bring in the Call Me By Your Name director. Once that dropped and you realize he's directing this, then the cast, then the trailers start coming out. That last trailer, I started to really perk up and wait a minute. It's so beautifully shot. It has so much beautiful atmosphere. This one hooked me so much. I cannot wait to see this thing. And it's a way where it's not scary like things jumping out at you or when it's this slow build, this creepy thing, and then like that one shot of whoever the actress was, it happened so fast against the
glass.
The glass.
That freaked me out, dude.
That freaked me out, and I'm like, this is exactly the kind of movie I like. This is the kind of horror I like that makes you just, you're creeping out of your skin throughout it. It really seems very interesting. Tilda Swinton Yeah, you put her in anything, I'm on board.
Dakota Johnson looks good here.
She looks great too. I forgot she was in it.
Chloe,
like,
yeah.
My God.
Chloe Moretz also in this movie.
Mia Goth always looks creepy.
Yeah,
pretty interesting cast.
So it's a great cast. We know a little bit. Obviously, if you've seen the original, you can kind of understand where it's coming from. I see a little bit of differences, obviously, but as far as trailers are concerned, well done marketing campaign. This is the type of horror movie I can't wait for.
Luca Guadagnino directing it. Now, let me ask you guys this, because I know you're a big horror movie fan. Snyder, I'm not sure where you stand on horror movies in general.
Huge fan.
He's not so much.
What?
Okay.
No, I love
He's
horror
a huge
movies.
horror
you were
fan.
shaking, I'm behind
shaking
this
your
microphone right now.
You were shaking your head. No.
Shaking my head like, I can't believe you don't know me better, Mark Ellis.
Oh, okay. Like sometimes rock singers go, no, but they're like, yeah, because they're rocking so hard.
He just didn't like it, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
which is wrong.
Is this the most anticipated horror movie for you of the rest of the year, or are you going to put that little Halloween movie ahead of it?
Again, I'm not. It's tough to say.
I'm making art competitive.
What's a thriller? What's a horror movie? I think I got to count the Lars von Trier, Matt Dillon serial killer movie as a horror movie. In which case, no, that is my most anticipated over Suspiria. I would rather take a ticket to the house that Jack built right now than Suspiria.
And when was that release date? Sometime
It's October, November. It's got to be.
Okay, Mark Reilly. Now we have 3 options at least. What
Halloween? Yeah, I'll just stop you there. Okay. Halloween. But you know me from Nightmares.
Yeah, I'm pumped for Halloween too.
Of course you are. But it's like that's my bread and butter more than. I grew up with Michael Myers and not Suspiria, but years later I went, okay, Suspiria. I got to go fill in the blanks, and I appreciate the different horror movies. But when it comes to Halloween, I'm picking that every time just because my favorite horror movie of all time is Halloween. So I'm very interested in because of Blumhouse.
Even though you star in The Nun?
Even though you're not supposed to say that.
You're in The Nun?
This is the post-credit scene. Seen the poster? It's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm like, I get tagged every day now.
Why? Do you look like the Nun?
I look like Marilyn Manson in makeup as the Nun.
Oh, yes. Boy.
The actress or the actor they got for this, I'm like, Jesus, oh boy, that looks like me, yeah.
All right, well, Mark Reilly, apparently
part of the Nun.
An undead nun in The Nun. I had no idea. Sorry about your.
I'm the nun
luck.
right now, man. I'm not even here. I'm a ghost.
His nickname was Yodi. Now it's going to be Valak from here on out. I'm very excited for that movie, by the way. I'm also excited to get into this next story because we're going to be talking all about rich people. And before we do, I'm going to remind you guys, your voice gets to be heard at the end of this show. Via live Twitter questions. @Collider Video is our handle. Tweet us, use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk, and be a part of the conversation here on this very show, or participate in the chat room if you dare. Forbes had their list of the 2018 highest paid actors. Who do you think number 1 was? Anybody out there want to take a wild guess who's not on the panel? Because you guys already know the answer.
The Rock.
Is not The Rock.
Oh,
The Rock is coming in second, but The Rock is actually first. He's first in my book on the 2018 highest paid actors because he's number 1 as far as acting related paychecks. Okay.
Yes.
So number 1 overall with a take in 2018 of $239 million is George Clooney, actor / activist / tequila magnate. Because him and Randy Gerber have this Casamigos thing going right now. I hear it's delicious tequila. Almost as good as Cabo Wabo tequila, which again, putting Clooney number 1 in the acting list because of all the tequila money is kind of like saying that Sammy Hagar is the highest grossing rocker because, well, he might be because he sold his tequila company, but it's not just based on, although his concerts still draw very well. Coming in third is Robert Downey Jr., pulling in $81 million. Fourth is Chris Hemsworth, $64.5 million. And number 5 is Chris Evans at a mere $34 million. Actually, Chris Evans was 10th, $34 million. Jackie Chan also on the list.
Yeah.
So the rest of the list, we have Akshay Kumar, Salman Khan representing China and Bollywood representatively, Will Smith, Adam Sandler. All right, Reilly, these are the highest paid actors. Does it count if you just have other interests that add your overall wealth as being the highest paid actor?
I guess, but like when I hear this list and Snyder alerted me to it, I was like, great, let's talk about the actors. And so when you talk about The Rock for movies, and then you have your Chris Evans and your Chris Hemsworth and even your Jackie Chans and all that, I'm like, great, we can talk about the movies. I remember sending the email out with the notes, and Dennis writing back going, has Clooney even been in a movie in 2018? And that's the conversation I get into. It's like, okay, yes, he's an actor. Yes, he's a producer. He's now a business mogul. It's all in tequila. So I like to talk about The Rock and Chris Evans. I'm glad some Avengers are on the list. But
I'm glad some Avengers are.
Yeah.
good for them.
I want the Avengers to be on the list. You know what? They're saving the world. They deserve to be.
They work hard.
On the top
they run
10.
around. They fight aliens, and all they have is like a bow and arrow or a stick or something. So yeah, good for you.
Coincidence? They're all on the list and then didn't disappear. So
what is funny about this is that if there were actual Avengers and they were hired to like take care of all this intergalactic BS, they would not be paid as well as the actors would be portraying them in movies.
Tony Stark would be on that list.
Hollywood. Tony Stark actually.
Tony Stark would be on the list.
Do we know if actresses were eligible for this? Like, is this just the actors list and then there's a separate actress list?
Yeah, because they did.
Or were there no actresses that cracked the 34, which was...
No, they did the actresses list a month or so ago. Because Scarlett Johansson was number 1 on the list.
Yeah, while Snyder talks about this, I'll pull that one up.
Yeah.
Do we know what her figure was, though?
We're going to.
Oh,
okay. If you talk about
just in
actors,
a little
we'll
bit.
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we got to just jam.
Yeah, we'll jam, baby.
chord.
Yeah, no, I was not surprised by The Rock, obviously, because he's just ubiquitous. He's everywhere. He's omnipresent at this point.
He's charging like $1 million to do social media or something. That's in his like, and I know that sounds like chump change when you compare it to 240.
A lot of people do that. Kevin Hart does that.
Kevin Hart, yeah, but
a cue from Kevin Hart.
Get your money, do it. You got a big following. You're going to talk about Rampage. You're going to talk about Skyscraper.
Yeah, wait, how is Kevin Hart not on this list?
That's what I'm wondering. Where is Kevin Hart?
Doesn't stand up, but does comedy not get any recognition, Snyder, at the Oscars or if you're talking about the Flick list?
You're absolutely right, though. All of his stand-up, all of his social media presence, and the fact that he's in a ton of movies, you wonder, because we were talking a little bit about this. As much as I want Captain America on the list, what else has Chris Evans done besides Avengers?
I was shocked he was that high.
Yes, and I know he did
64.5 million from what?
What, Gifted? He did that movie, but was that?
Oh, that's Chris Evans. I was talking Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, and then
he just did Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Are those both like $32 million paydays? Like 12 was 12 strong.
Well, the question I have
is Men in Black in there because they got paid right now?
Is back end stuff, because like when I was a kid, you'd read like Jim Carrey made $10 million right to do a movie, and the famous story about like putting the $10 million check in his dad's casket because he kept promising his dad one day he was going to make that money, and it was a very sweet and touching story. And I think that back then that's how actors were paid. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you got your money up front, and now actors, at least ones that have built some sort of reputation and clout, now put their points in the back end, where if the movie is successful, like Tom Cruise is going to make an ass ton of money on Mission Impossible Fallout. He got a healthy chunk of change up front, but it's also because the movie does well and he's a producer on the movie, so that's where the real dough rolls in.
Yeah, where is Tom Cruise on this list? Yeah, I was shocked he's not on this because of everything you said. I mean, he's one of the highest paid producers as well.
Because he's only involved in Tom Cruise movies. Like someone like Sandler, I wasn't surprised to see him on the list, not just because of the acting fees that he racks up on the Netflix movies and the six-figure stand-up nights and whatnot. But Happy Madison produces so much stuff,
right?
You know, for Netflix, like whether it's that new David Spade movie, Father of the Year, or whatever it is.
Sure.
So he's getting producing fees. You know, as is The Rock, who's $7 production company. You know, he's racking up a ton of billable hours there.
Yeah, good point for sure. But this Fallout stuff is doing bang up dollars. He got paid for being Tom Cruise, so I keep going down. I'm going to the last rung on the ladder, which is number 10. He couldn't even crack the top 10.
Maybe if you make 20 for Fallout, for acting in Fallout, and 10 for producing Fallout, that's 30.
It goes back to my Avengers argument. Tom Cruise is spending too much time actually doing the work and doing stunts. Stop doing stunts and just dress up like characters that do stunts and they fight aliens and they're part of a comic. That's how you make the big bucks.
I thought it was too interesting that we had 2 Bollywood guys on this list.
Yeah, that's great.
We also have plenty of endorsements.
Oh yeah, because it's huge over there and overseas.
Right.
I mean, they get so much, not only in the movies and everything, but they're getting all that merchandise and appearances and all that.
I
kind
do
of stuff.
wonder who is getting the biggest paydays as far as acting goes, because Will Smith, that Bright check and the Aladdin check, those are legit $20 million paydays.
Yeah,
and
you think Will Smith is still commanding $20 million up front for a movie?
That's why they got him to do Bright. Essentially, they bought out his back end.
Is that why he didn't do Independence Day Resurgence? Is because they're like, hey, come on back, wait, the whole gang's coming.
I think you could read one page of that script and know not to do Independence Day Resurgence.
Script? Probably not.
That movie was atrocious.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Not good. Well, in that time, I was able to pull up the Forbes list for the top 10 grossing actresses of 2019. 2018. Number 1 is
Scarlett Johansson.
You guessed it. Number 1 in your hearts. Number 1 in your program. Scarlett Johansson. About $40 million she took in.
Okay,
and he guesses number 2. Damn right. Angelina Jolie, $28 million. Number 3, Jennifer Aniston, $19.5 million.
So only Scarlett would have made this list. She would have
probably.
I think Angelina might have cracked it. Okay, so she would have been probably 11 or 12. Jennifer Lawrence is number 4 at $18 million. Yeah. Reese Witherspoon, number 5 at $16.5
not on there.
million.
No Sandy Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. She might be in the top. Now I'm going to scroll.
I'm
here
not
just
betting
for you.
against Sandy Bullock.
Go back on that.
Mila Kunis, Julia Roberts, Kate Blanchett, Melissa McCarthy, 9. Can Sandra Bullock be number 10? No, Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, Sandra Bullock.
Action. All right.
Sorry, Sam. I'm sure she's doing just fine. But hey, you got Jennifer Aniston. Smart move. She's in popular movies. She's got some TV show checks still coming in, and she drinks smart water. It's pH balanced, and it pays you very well to have billboards on Sunset Boulevard. So running the gamut. Mm-hmm. And that it's fun talking about people who are much richer than anybody on this day. We put our money together.
We wouldn't make the list.
What do you guys think we can do? We can knock out some rent for a couple months?
Yeah, is there a bottom
I don't think
list?
we could pay 1 month of Robert Downey Jr.'s rent.
That's a fun game. I wonder what is at one of his places, not all of his. He's got to have multiple hats. Okay,
yes.
If you're number 1 on this list, right, and I make you Clooney, and you have $239 million, and all of a sudden you check your bank statement and it says you have $239 million, what's the first thing y'all are doing?
Oh, I'm going to Europe, man. I'm going all over Europe. Yeah, and I'm staying in the best hotels.
Did you say I'm going to Europe, or did you say we're going? Is in you and the lady?
Oh, yeah.
You probably get her permission before you bring me and Jeff along.
Okay, yeah. Well, I
same chain of command here.
Sure, I'll bring the lady too, of course, because I'm honorable in that way. And she is my fiancée.
And you pack the drone. And
I pack the drone, and I pack. Yeah, and see, with that, I'll be able to fly Cal. I'll be able to bring Cal with me.
You can buy the jet, man.
I'm buying the jet.
Fly private, obviously.
I'm flying private because I'm not putting Cal underneath. And for everybody out there with animals, do not do commercial airlines with your dog and put them in the storage.
No, do not.
Have you heard the awful things that happen? My God, they depressurize the cabin.
Yeah.
You lose your best friend, so never do it. Yeah,
thanks
that's
for
why I'm
bringing
taking
that
my
up during a dream scenario where I gave you $239 million. I gave the guy $239 million, and he
I
has
felt
a PSA.
like I had something to say. I felt like I needed to have a PSA on this.
It was well received for any pet owners. Don't do stupid stuff.
I would be passing out $1 million checks to my family members.
Nice.
Buying a yacht for me and all my high school buddies to sail around the continental United States with.
Okay. Very
cool.
We're thinking smart.
How good of a friend do you have to be of Jeff Sneider to get on the yacht? Like what's the cut?
You did not make the cut. There's no room on the yacht for you. We don't have enough life jackets, Mark.
All I'm going to do is I'm going to be like if it's like a really competitive dock worker market, the dock workers, they show up, they're in the union, and if there's a job for them, great. If not, I learned everything I know about working on the docks from the movie Hard Target. So you show up, and sometimes you get on a boat, sometimes you don't get a boat that day. I'm just going to show up, and you're saying the odds aren't good.
We'll see. I mean, if you look cute in the little sailor hat, I would also use the money. I would buy Collider and give you guys raises.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and I would finance the reboot of The Crow.
Oh, there it is.
Which otherwise will never get made.
I was about to say, because we weren't invited on the yacht, I was going to basically copy his plan, buy my own yacht, not invite you, go elsewhere. I mean, I'm always going to be behind you, but now that you're going to give me a raise and remake The Crow.
I don't care about the raise. The first thing, he looked me dead in the eye and said, I'm not invited on the yacht. I'm buying a pirate ship, and cannonballs are coming into the side of that yacht.
And now I'm with Ellis. I'm with you. I will be your first mate, and you're going down.
Sneed.
Don't let me win Powerball because I'm making Cutthroat Island 2.
Oh.
All right, we move on to live Twitter questions. Gonna remind you guys, tomorrow, we got some cool stuff on the Collider video. On the YouTube channel, we got the movie Trivia Schmoedown, and then we also have movie review talk hosted by Scott freaking Mance in the morning, talking about the Happy Time Murders and Searching. Excited to see what him and a panel of experts have to say about those movies. You can also check out the podcast feed, Movie Talk. It's a podcast, too. You get Movie Talk, you get Afterthoughts with Ryan and Jay, and you get Mailbag hosted by the always reliable and the mother of Dewey, Perry Nemiroff. Okay, kids, here we go. Some live Twitter queries. Clay Williams is up first. Portland's own Clay Williams says, what's your box office prediction looking ahead a little bit for Glass? Is it going to beat Split and Unbreakable?
What did Split open with?
I'm going to look that up while you guys play a B chord.
I think it's going to open above Split for sure, because now we are now realizing it was a sequel or in the same universe as Unbreakable, and now they're all coming together. There's going to be a lot of hype to that. Did you get it? What was the opening weekend?
I did. Well, the opening weekend of Split was $40 million.
Okay.
And it ended up doing 138 here in the States.
Well done. 40 million. I didn't realize that. So yeah, we're looking
that's a tough number to break.
Are you kidding me? It's Glass now. It's Unbreakable. Okay. It's Samuel Jackson. It's the curiosity alone is going to push that thing to 60 to 70 million opening weekend.
Wow, you think it's going to be that high, Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, so I looked up. Unbreakable did 30. You're saying Split did 40. Signs did 60.
Ooh, there it is.
So
yeah, but that had aliens.
I'm going to put Split at 50 to 55.
Okay.
I can't wait. Mark this in your calendars. Yeah. I can't wait. This is I think it's going to be above that.
And
I
am pumped for Split.
Me too.
It looks terrific.
Glass, you mean? Yeah.
So yes, sorry, Glass. Pumped for Glass.
I can't
already
wait.
saw Split.
The footage. You got the Comic-Con presence this year too. So you got that trailer coming out. You got all the sweaties getting ready for this thing. The trailer looked great. It's got to be 60 million,
has become a gigantic cult classic
Absolutely.
in the year since it was released.
Absolutely. That place went nuts. The people that didn't understand what was going on, they literally went, I looked next to the person, I'm like, that's Unbreakable. And they went, and the people there with the guy, he's like, Unbreakable, oh my God. And they're like, we got to go home right now and watch this.
Different kind of superhero movie, man. People looking for that next twist on the superhero movie. And this looks like it'll be it.
Yeah.
All right, Brad Whipple's up next, and he asks, what is your biggest pet peeve when you're at a movie theater? Biggest pet. I think people know mine. It's like you put your phone away as soon as the trailers start. That's not the time to talk to your friends. You had your chance in the car ride over when you met out front. When you get in a movie theater, you sit down, you shut up, you laugh, you cry, and that's it. And you don't address your phone. I would prefer phones to be surrendered upon entering a movie theater.
I'm with you on that. Also, when you sit down, you understand the space you're working with, right? You know that if you cross your legs and you knock the person in front of you, sorry.
Oh, that's even bigger. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Then you understand the space you're working with. What the hell are with these people that just keep doing it? I've been in more situations than not in this situation where I have to turn around and go, please, calm yourself. Stop doing this thing. And they kick, and I'm like, what is going on? Happened to my fiance at one point. She's just like, what is going on? I'm like, okay, everything's fine. Calms down a little bit, and then, what are you doing? And it's like, can you stop, please?
Yeah.
Understand your space. When you keep doing that, I can never understand. When you kick somebody in front of you on accident, you say sorry, you get aware of your space again, and you stop, because you don't want a movie like this.
I grabbed a fella's foot one time.
Oh, did you?
Resting his foot right here on the footrest right
Good
here.
Man,
it was right there. I just reached around. I was just like, I just shook the foot. we never had words. I just shook the foot. He got the message and got out.
Did he apologize afterwards? Because it is a man. I'm sure that did this.
We just went about it. It was forgotten by the end of the movie, but I'll never forget the foot handshake. Jeff Sneider, your pet peeve in a movie theater?
I think it's when someone takes up 2 cup holders.
Oh,
It's like, guy, what are you doing?
What do you have, your water and your soda?
Obviously kick seats are annoying. I hate sticky floors.
Yeah, sticky floors. Well, just having, again, I always go to this theme. Be aware of your spaces. Also know when it's silent in the movie.
The crinkling, exactly.
And you're like, what are you doing? Do it when it's explosions.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so glad we're bringing this up, Riley.
Yes.
All right. Some of the more cinephile-tastic in the chat room actually have complaints about them. RNK fan art says the dim projection of film. I get that.
Okay.
On 3D movies,
rather have that. And then we have a lot of people saying don't bring your kids. Most people are saying do not bring phones into it. So just check your phones.
Thad, can you be quiet?
Thad was opening a bag of M&Ms.
Trying to sneak in.
Since Thad Williams was not in the studio during that conversation, he is not aware that Jeff Sneider has purchased Collider and is giving us all raises. We don't know how much the raises are, but we do know that I did not make the initial cut onto the yacht, although I am now going to cannonball his ship. All right, we move on to Edward Harrell, who is a New Yorker. He knows how to rock. He's a big Metallica and Van Halen fan. Thank you, Ed. Ed Harrell says, hey, gang, so if Riley Around is in The Nun, and I was obviously great in The Force Awakens, what movie has Jeff the Insnider been in, or is there a movie where a lot of people say, hey, Jeff, that guy looks exactly like you?
There's an image that Jack showed me where he's like, Adrian Brody looks like Jeff Sneider here.
No.
There it is. So how about King Kong?
No. You're just giving him Adrian Brody. You're the nun. You're an undead zombie.
Believe me,
Catholic
I don't want to be the
creature.
nun, but no.
It could be an animated character
partying
too.
thing. Animated, okay. Well, start us off.
With Sneider.
This is in terms of looks, right?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. It's
tough. I don't know.
Adrian Brody. Okay, the pianist.
I think you look kind of like the dad in Carpool, the Tom Arnold movie.
David Paymer?
Not Tom. Maybe it's David Paymer. Yeah, but it's like the beleaguered. I see you playing the beleaguered father of like a group of kids. It's just like we're almost at grandma's house. Just shut up.
People thought I looked like Ira from Mad About You.
Yeah, I could give you that.
John Pankow.
I could give you that. All right. And do you take that as a compliment? Like you could be on television and in movies?
No, I do not. I don't photograph well, guys. You got to catch me at the right angle.
All right. Mario is going to close us out here. And it's a two-part question, and one has nothing to do with the other one. So there's two questions for you. Are you excited for Robert Downey Jr. apparently returning for Sherlock Holmes 3? Are we excited about that?
Yeah, that's happening.
Wait, but it's happening, but are you excited? When you say like that's happening, like
I'd be I'm up for it.
I'm excited for Ethan Irwin because he's the producer on it and big Schmoedown guy,
veteran.
and anytime a buddy that I know that is making a big movie and it gets greenlit, I'm excited for that.
All due respect to Ethan Irwin, who's a great guy. I'm all set on Sherlock Holmes 3. Pass.
You're passing.
Sherlock Holmes 2 sucked.
I like the first one. The second one was
not
fine.
called Sherlock Holmes 2. It was called Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows.
Whatever the hell it was called, it was a disgrace.
And I think whatever they call this one,
that
I am. I like Downey and I like Jude Law together.
Yeah.
As the team, I gotta say I'm more excited for Holmes and Watson. I'm cautiously optimistic about John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. That movie comes out this Christmas.
Yeah.
I hope to see a trailer soon. I want it to be funny. I want it to be like more Step Brothers. People might hate it. It might be too late to make the movie. I'm excited regardless. And then the other question Mario had for us is who is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, well.
It's Thursday. We got more preseason games. Then in a couple weeks, the actual season kicks off. And then about week 10, the referees will finally start legislating the NFL hit rule correctly with the lowering of the head.
The Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, are you John Roca now? You're adopting the Rams as your...
No, remember I tried?
Yeah, no, you're
Remember
fine.
I tried? No, I tried. I was a Rams fan growing up. They were right in my backyard.
Yeah.
They left me. I became, throughout, however I did, I became a Seattle Seahawks fan. Rams come back. I'm going to start watching. I'm like, I'm a Rams fan again. Couldn't do it. Just, I haven't been able to hang.
So you are a Seahawks fan, but you think
Still.
the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because it's just I'm throwing it out there because they made it to the playoffs last year.
Okay.
So it's a bet I would put on Vegas just to see how much money.
All right, Ira from Mad About You. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Come on, guys. I'm a member of the Patriots, or I was a member of the Patriots. I have to say the Patriots here. Do they still have Bill Belichick? Do they still have Tom Brady? Yes. So to me, they are the front runner. If I had to pick another team, though, I'm going to throw my money behind the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
It's not bad.
So, Kirk Cousins, new addition to that team. We see some Eagles votes. We do see some Patriots. We see a drunk person apparently voting for the Dallas Cowboys in all caps. The Tennessee Oilers, close enough. Well, you get away with that.
Oilers.
The New York Giants. Somebody saying the Lions. A lot of different fans of different teams. But I got to say, I got a funny feeling about the 2018 Washington Redskins winning the Super Bowl. You heard it here first, and you heard it here last. Looking forward to watching us play the Broncos tomorrow in the preseason and see who gets hurt this time. I call it a movie talk last time. I'm going to keep cursing it. I'm just going to knock on wood. Sorry about that. Samaj P. Ryan. Okay, we are going to say thank you and good night for today and for the week. I want to give a heartfelt thank you to Mark Reilly, and I want to say, hey, Jeff Sneider, thanks for considering me for your yacht entry privileges. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You know, I don't often wish my panelists good weekend, but you guys, you worked hard this week, and
right back at you, buddy.
You deserved it. Enjoy your endeavors.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys on Monday for Movie Talk, and I'll see you guys next Friday in Atlanta for Dragon Con. Peace out. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.